There are about 2 million people incarcerated in this country, and their lives are the focus of a new series called Inside Story. It's a joint production between Vice News and the Marshall Project. What's different is that this is developed by people who have been behind bars, and it's intended for an audience that is still serving time now. Take a look.
I worked about 35 hours a week and made about 14 cents an hour.
It's not just that people on the inside aren't paid fairly. It's that more often than not, they aren't paid enough to live.
If somebody said to me that while you're incarcerated, you have everything that you need to survive, I would say bull.
I want to welcome to the show co-creator and host Lawrence Bartley. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me, Lindsay. Thank you.
So you report here that the average payment is about 52 cents an hour for an inmate. Explain to me how that really kind of plays a part in the larger problems in the American justice system, prison system in particular.
Well, folks max out at 52 cents an hour. Some states, you don't get paid nothing at all for a full day's work. And if a person is incarcerated for, let's say, 20 years and able and made to toil, that type of work is mandatory. You can't just say, I'm not going to work. You have to work 2 modules a day in order to meet your parole requirements. So a person goes to the board 20 years later, if the person hasn't been working, the person can't get out. And to only work for 52 cents an hour where they have to pay for their food, that's not the mess hall food, because everything you heard about food in the mess hall is true, is very nasty. So folks try to buy stuff on commissary and other things to make them feel like they have some sense of humanity while on the inside, and 52 cents an hour just really doesn't get it.
So let's talk about your personal experience a bit. You spent 27 years behind bars for a number of crimes, including murder. How did your experience lead you to what you're doing today?
Well, when I was incarcerated, I was part of what's called the IOC, which is like a government for incarcerated people. We're elected just like officials are elected on the outside and by block. And then of the 9 folks who are elected, they pick a chairman. And I was that in many institutions for many years. I went in at 17. I did 27 years. So in that role, I was made to take on all the complaints from the incarcerated population and bring that to the prison administrators. And in that role, I began to learn the balance between the two, because prison administrators used to have complaints as well, to bring it to us, to bring to the incarcerated population, and we should try to kind of remedy that from the middle. And I began to care about everyone, even folks that I didn't speak to, and I was sharing information. So naturally, when I came out, I didn't think I would fall into journalism, but naturally I fell into journalism, and I'm still sharing information with folks.
You open up the first episode talking to some youth who are incarcerated in New Orleans. Why was that important for you to start that way?
Well, because I was incarcerated at 17, as I just mentioned, and growing up in the system, learning how to shave in the system, and being in a world of men and in a hard place to boot, it was really tough on a person's psyche. Many of my peers developed mental issues. Many of my peers didn't make it. They didn't come out, who went in with me as teenagers. And I felt like I survived that. And I felt like it's up to someone like me to tell the stories that people that usually don't hear or don't think about when dealing with children. Like, we like to think that we pull the curtain back on the criminal justice system.
You also spend some time telling the stories, highlighting the stories of people who have found success in their lives after being incarcerated. And your goal really is that people who are behind bars are going to see this. What do you hope that they take away?
Well, I like to encapsulate that in a letter I got from a young man. We also print a magazine called News Inside that we distribute in prisons and jails. And I got a letter from a young man who said, I'm 21 years old, I get out in 9 months. And when I get out, I'm going to commit more crimes. I'm a career criminal. I don't have any other goals. I know I'm going to come back. But this old-timer told me, that I need to go read News Inside. So I went to the library, I got News Inside. And I read that you were 17 years old when you got in, but now you're out. You're a publisher of a national publication. And I thought that, wait, I can do something better with my life. So I did a 180, and now I'm going to go out, and I'm going to be productive, and I promise you I'm never coming back. And that's what I want people to get from Inside Story. We highlight stories of individuals who go on to be chefs, as in this episode, individuals who go on to be magicians, many different career paths that incarcerated people didn't think was possible for them, but we're showing them that it is.
So worthwhile and meaningful what you're doing. Lawrence, thank you so much for your time and your work. We want to let our viewers know that you can watch the 8-episode series Inside Story on the Vice website or at themarshallproject.com.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.